Hey, fellow TGCers! Finally got it working! As you can see, the ball is reflecting as it should, depending on the side. Look, it just hit the top without any issues. Just hit the side of that brick without any issues. Just like that one. And now, look at that! It's working beautifully. It is beautiful. You're probably wondering how I got it to work. And, it's so simple, but in order to understand it, I must first explain how I'm updating the position of the ball. So, I first saw the code for this in like Stack Overflow, I think, and it was for Java, and it was using classes, to store the data for like the ball and the paddle and all that fun stuff, as well as the bricks. And so I emulated that with types, and I have a variable for the position for both the x and y coordinates of the ball, and I have a variable for the speed and everything. And so what's happening is, I'll show you real quick. What's happening is that, I have an update ball routine. It's calling functions to check if the ball is in the bounds of the screen or if it's hitting a brick, and then it's updating the position by doing, x position equals x position plus x speed, and same for the y position. And then I'm setting the sprite position to what that should be. And because I'm doing it that way, I failed to take into account that the y speed, or the speed in general, of the ball would technically be ahead of the position of the ball. And that's why I was getting incorrect results. That's why it would look like it was hitting the side of the brick, but then bounce off the top, or it looked like it was bouncing off the top of or hitting the top of the brick, but then bouncing off the side. It just wasn't taking the speed part into account because of how it's updating. And so now that I've got it figured out, this is what it looks like. And it's beautiful. It works. It actually bounces correctly, and yeah, it works. And so I'm very excited. Ha! That's fun when that happens. So let me talk a little bit about my project in general. This video is probably going to be like 5 minutes long, if it isn't already. Basically, eventually when I have it programmed right, when there are 2 to 5 or maybe even 10 bricks left, one of the bricks will randomly become the opposing paddle. It'll turn color, it'll move itself over to be like exactly 16 pixels in front of the first row of bricks, and it will do everything in its power to stop the player from breaking the rest of the bricks. The ball speed won't start increasing until the opponent paddle appears, and it'll become like Pong then. If the ball, or if the computer score reaches 21, I think it is in Pong, you'll lose the level. And yeah, you'll have to start over. I also want to add like effects to it, like particle effects. I'm thinking that the opposing paddle, can shoot like lasers and stuff at the player, and maybe set the player paddle on fire. But that's getting way ahead of myself, and that would require media for the effects I would want to do. So I would need to figure out a way to make it medialess, because that's my ultimate goal. I don't even want it to have music. I want it to be very similar to, the old Breakout. I might have to have a couple sound effects. I might add like the basic, boop, 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 something like that. But yeah, and then how it's working, I won't even have a visual level editor, because I've got a nice function here that allows me to create the rows of bricks. And it's beautiful because I can control everything from the color to the amount of hits it takes to kill the brick, the spacing, the offset, all that fun stuff. And it's literally, I can do that. I can create an entire level in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commands, or 5 function calls rather. And so I think what I could do then is probably store the data in a text file. I could literally just open up, write, or whatever it's called on a Mac, or Notepad on PC, and just write out what I would want, and then I can, in a for next loop, call that with the parameters, and it would be great, and I could make an entire level and nothing flat, and it's great. So let's see, let me move this over a bit. Let's see what it looks like when it's actually doing stuff right. Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. And it's nice because I can make the bricks different sizes. Like these ones are 32 pixels wide, or tall rather, and 16 pixels wide. These ones are 64 pixels tall and 16 wide. And then there's spacing, so they stay exactly where they should in a grid pattern, but then they've got actual spaces in them, so it looks a little bit more fancy. And I don't know, I just kind of dig it. And then it's nice because then I can also use some fancy math to offset these and make it look interesting. There's a lot of different stuff that I can do to make it look different. Each level have its own unique look just through code. I don't need to worry about making any kind of level editor. It would just overcomplicate everything. Look at that. That was beautiful. It bounced exactly how it should. Amazing how subtracting one variable from another makes a huge difference in how this game works. So yeah, finally, 2 weeks later, I'm so happy. Ooh, if only you could see my smile. Wait! Oh, no, you can't. I can't change it. Nuts. Well, alrighty. I'll just post a picture of my face here. Yeah, gotta work. It's beautiful. 2 thumbs up. Finally. God.